I'm Corbett Wall with DV Auction, here with your feeder flash for Wednesday, February the 7th. And despite the drought that's going on up through the plains in the Midwest, we've got a rally on these calves, or really these stocker cattle, whether they're early fall calves or they're late calves from last year's spring crop. But those 4.5 to 650 pound calves that are just right for these guys to fill the orders that they have for early grass cattle. And you wonder why these backgrounders start so early putting their grass cattle together, because there's just not enough supply to fill all the orders. And if they wait much later into the later part of the winter and early spring, there's just not going to be anything but a few real soft fall calves, and there's just not enough of them to go around. They want the hard stocker type cattle. But the investment world kind of breathed a sigh of relief on Tuesday whenever your stock market come back another 600 points almost. So that took the sting out of Monday's big drop there. But you look at the board on Tuesday, April live cattle was down 90 cents to end the day at 124.57. February spot live cattle market down 50 cents at 125.62. Even though that's off of last week's market, I still don't see why we couldn't get a steady fat cattle market despite not any trade going on so far this week. March feeder cattle down 95 cents to end the day at 148.72. April down $1.10 at 149.42. Like I said, there's been no fat cattle trade pretty much to speak of at all. Did have a few loads that were turned in the Iowa area up there on mandatory price reporting at 127 live. Like I said, not enough to establish a market, but right in there tight to where the market should be, and $200 dress. But I would say steady would be a good place to hope for this market this week, just depending on what the board does as we go in here to Wednesday and later on in the week. But we have no signs of anything but steady so far. Look at your feeder cattle market. Your real-time index on Beef Market Central late on Tuesday was sitting at 147.64. That was up 33 cents, and that's because they had some good sales in some places like Gordon, Nebraska, Salina, Kansas, some places that were getting a good price for their cattle and propping the market up a little bit. I don't think your market on your feeder cattle, your big heavy steers going right into the feedlot, has really changed a lot. It's just the places that they had to sell. But that 147.64 is pretty tight with what the latest CME feeder cattle index is at 147.95. But look at your big sales on Tuesday. Your calf sale at El Reno, OKC West, they had about 4,000 head of calves, mostly steady there. And I tell you what, it is dry as a popcorn fart. 200 miles in any direction from El Reno, Oklahoma. There's no wheat. They may still have some cattle turned out there, but they're hauling feed to them, or they're hauling hay to them. And if you're having to pay to be out on the wheat and hauling feed to them, that doesn't seem like a very good deal. It's going to mess guys up when they've got them turned out on the gain and there's nothing for them to eat. But it's just really dry in that part of the country. It's dry all over the Midwest and the plains, both north and south, except for the extreme north where they did have some snow earlier on in the winter. Look at some other sales. Ozarks Regional Stockyards in West Plains, Missouri, about 2,500 head on Tuesday. Now their calves are $3 to $6 higher because they have had some moisture out in that area, and they've got some stockpile grass, and that's where guys really go to get the calves that they want this time of year. I did quote peewee calves as much as $10 higher. You look at a sale that normally is on Thursday, but they had a Tuesday sale at Farmers and Ranchers Livestock in Salina, Kansas, about 3,400 head on a day that's not their normal feeder day, but a good sale there. You look at the automated market report on Cattle Market Central, you see the popular weights there. 457 head of 6-weight steers, average 652 at 165.35. Big run of 7-weight steers, 795 head of them, average 752 at 152.05, and 326 head of 8-weight steers averaged over 850 at 851, still bringing 144.79 on the average. Look at some individual quotes. at the OKC West Market there in El Reno, Oklahoma, where it is so dry. On Tuesday they had 81 head of 454-pound steer calves, still bring 195. Gordon, Nebraska had 67 head of 805-pound steers, bring 154.10. That's your feeder flash for Wednesday.